Good morning, students. Today I welcome you in today's session. Today we are going to talk about a point from the Flamingo book, that is keeping quiet. Before going to start the point, I want to tell you some detail about the writer. Here the writer name is Pablo Neruda. He born in the year of 1904 and died in the year of 1973. Actually, this Pablo Neruda is his pen name, and the actual name of Pablo Neruda is Nathaniel Ricardo Ares Bastulo. It is his full name, and he used to write his pen name as a Pablo Neruda. He is a very versatile writer. Not only he is a writer, but also would be considered as a political person. He won Nobel Prize in the year of 1971 for his literature, and he became a very popular poet in his era. And furtherly, his poems are full of variety. We found different types of things in his poem, because it is very easy, or it is fully easy to understand by creating images, and it enhances the beauty of poem, or by creating understandable images. Pablo Neruda enhances the beauty of poem, and he would be considered as a versatile writer. In his writing, you find out variety of writings, because he used to write about love poems. Also, he used to write about historical epics, as well as the other things also he used to write. Apart from this one, he remained always active in both the sections. As we know that he is a literature person, he is a poet as well as a political person. So he always showed his interest in literature as well as in political also. Okay, now let us talk about the main theme of this point. Here, the writer, the poet has written, the title given by the poet is Keeping Quiet. Keeping quiet means what? Keeping quiet means to remain still, to remain inactive. That means here the poet is asking to stopping all the activities and still for a while to introspect and understand ourselves. That means the narrator is urging us, the poet is urging us that we will stop our all sort of activity and we will remain silent. And in that silence, what we are going to do, we are going to understand ourselves. That means we will introspect us, we will try to understand what sort of things we are doing, what kind of activities we are doing. Then the essence of this point is based on introspection. Introspection is what? Introspection is looking inward. Looking inward refers to self-examination. Every day, what we are doing and how we are leading our life. Like suppose sometimes we used to introspect us also, that in today's day or in today, what kind of activity I have done, is it right, is it wrong, all these kind of things. When we investigate, when we look into our own deed, when we look into our inwards, that is called here introspection. So here the narrator is basically trying to remind us or trying to highlight 3 points. That is, the first one is introspection, or here the point is showing us the importance of introspection. And the second point the narrator wants to highlight, that is peace and unity. And the third one, he has been trying to give us the message, that is mutual understanding. Listen the point. I am going to read it to you all. Listen it carefully, and thereafter I will explain its meaning, as well as I will tell you the different poetic devices used in this poem. So the poem is like this. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still for once on the face of the earth. Let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic movement. It would be an exotic movement without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm wells, and the man gathering salt, would look at his hot hands, Those who prepared green wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survival, would put on clean clothes, and walk about with their brothers in the sad, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with a total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no talk with the dead. If we were not so single-minded, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a use silence might interpret this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with the death. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So this is point, and right now I'm going to explain this first stanza of this point. So try to understand this one. Here the narrator is telling us now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. That means what? Here the narrator is urging in very two lines of the point that we all are going to count up to 12. Why you want to count for the 12 one only? Because might be it is quite possible, or it is our hope, or we believe that a day will be completed, or there are 12 hours in a day. Or it's also quite possible, as we know that in a year there are 12 months. So for that 12 hours of a day, or for the 12 months of a year, he wants to count for the 12. And if you just look at the title of the point, so there will be 12 alphabets also in its title. So it's probable that from narrator only that he is trying to make us understand, or he will count up to 12 by telling us that a day will be having 12 hours. So he say us that he is urging us, let we all count 12, and after that one, what we will do, we'll all keep quiet. We all keep quiet means we'll all not do any kind of thing. Simply we will remain quiet, silence. There will be a silence in entire earth. And for once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. So further he is urging us, he is requesting to the reader, he is requesting to the public, he is requesting to every people that for once the face of the earth, for once for the face of the earth means what? In the entire earth, in the entire globe, there will be silenceness, there will be stillness, there will be a complete strange change, or the movement is completely different. And let us not, or let's not speak in any language. That means he is requesting us that we are not going to speak in any kind of language. Might be verbal, or might be any kind of your gesture, or might be any kind of your sign language also. Why he is telling us? Because he wants to make us unified. That means one thing only would be there. He requests us to talk in only by means of a silenceness. And here it would be also said by the poet because language create barriers. Like as different places are there. Like as you all belongs to Chhattisgarh, so we are having our local language of Chhattisgarhi. I belong to Odisha, so I'm having Odia, my own mother tongue. So it will create somehow barriers. It will create some kind of boundaries. So the poet wants to break down this boundary. The poet wants to completely erase this boundary and make us unified, or we all will think we all are human beings. That's why he's telling that do not speak in any kind of language, or he is not recommending us to speak in any kind of language. Let's stop for 1 second. So might be it's not possible for keeping inactive, or to remain silent, or to remain still for a lengthy time. So he's at least requesting us to keep or remain silent for a second and not move our arms so much. We know very well that the world is very busy. Everyone will have different activities. Everyone is having different tasks to do. Like as I'm here giving my lecture, that is my own schedule. You people are here studying your own lessons, that is your schedule. So everyone is busy. Everyone is just rushing into their own activities. And here the narrator is telling us to stop for a second, but in that time we will even not move our arms. We all remain silent. We all remain paused. Now let us see what kind of which poetic devices are used in this first stanza. So the narrator is telling us now we will count to 12 and we will all keep quiet, or we will all keep still. So here the narrator is using one poetic device, that is your alliteration. Most prominently this poetic device is notable, and that one is your alliteration. Alliteration refers to which one? Alliteration means a repetition of a consonant sound at the beginning of a poem or in a more consecutive words. That means in more closely, if a consonant sound is repeating, that is called to be your alliteration. Likewise, if you see in the first stanza, we will. So here we W started and will also started with the W. So here W sound is repeating. So that is your alliteration. Then the next poetic device is used here, that is your antithesis. Antithesis is what? Antithesis means in a stanza or in a one line of a poem, if two completely opposite words are used, that is called your antithesis. Here the narrator is telling us in the first stanza that we will not speak or we will remain still, and still he is telling us to will count. So count and still refers to two different opposite words. Count means active, and here still means still means remain, stop. So these two are completely opposite words which is used in the first stanza, that is called antithesis. So another poetic device is used in this point, that is your anaphora. Anaphora refers to which one? Anaphora means anaphora means the two consecutive lines begin or starting with the same word. Because in the second line or in the line number 4th and 5th one, we have the same word, let's, not speaks, and let's stop for 1 second. So the two words are same, that is called anaphora. Then we are having the third poetic device, that is called assonance. Assonance means what? Here in poem we will use the vowel sound or use the vowel sound, that is the O, U, E, I. Okay, so if these sounds are prominent or we found the use of this vowel sound, that is called assonance. Like as here now O sound is coming, then count O sound is coming, to O sound is coming. Here in the next line also, not, move, out, so these are the examples of your assonance. Okay, let's come to the second stanza and see what the poet is telling. So the poet is mentioned, it would be an exotic movement without rush, without engine. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm wells, and the man gathering salt would look at his hot hands. So as we all know that the world is every time busy, everyone will have their own activity, all are busy in their own life schedule. Right now the poet is telling us that when this thing will happen true, that means that we all will go for introspection, we all will go for examine ourselves, or we all will remain in a still position without activity, we all remain inactive. What will happen? Here the narrator is telling, or according to the poet, it says that it would be an exotic movement. Exotic movement refers to which one? A strange movement, means a strange atmosphere which has never happened earlier. That is called your exotic movement. So when all will remain still, or we all will be go into a silence position, it will consider as a very strange movement. It never happens earlier, so it will be considered as a very strange movement. And without rush means what? Rush means we all know that we all are busy by moving here and there, or in a quick and fast way. So that is rush. So as we follow the words of Pablo Neruda, we all remain silent. That means there will be no rush, no one is moving towards their own activity, or no one is busy into their own activity. Furtherly, the narrator is also telling without engine. That means we all stop all kinds of our engine. Engine refers to which one here? Machines. The world is completely changed into a robotic arm or a robotic machinery. So we all are working through the machines, and when we all stop this engine work also, there will be silences, there will be peace, and it will make us unified, or it will gives us a pleasure. So here the narrator is telling that without any kind of rush or without any kind of engine, we all will remain in a silent position. Furtherly, the narrator is mentioning that we would be all together. We would all be together. That means in this way, we will stop our activity, we will stop our work and we all become together. How we all become together? Because we have a no language, we have a no work, so all are in a same position or in a same state. So we all think we all are together, or we all are unity, or we all are together in a sudden strangeness. And this thing, if when happens, that will be considered as a sudden strangeness. Why it will be considered as a sudden strange? It has never happened, or it is not an usual movement. It would be considered to be a very strange movement, which might be possible or which might not be possible. It is up to us only. But it will give us the time. It will give us the possibilities period of time where we are going to introspect us, we are going to examine our deeds or our activity. Furtherly, the narrator is telling us fishermen in cold sea and would not harm wells, and the man gathering salt would look at his hot hands. So what happened? We all are busy. How busy we know very well, each one. So here the fishermen, those who are going for fishing into the salty water, they will also get rested, and they have the time to look into their wounds, or to look into their hot hands. And in this way, when they did not went to, or when they do not go to the sea for hunting the well, the submarine system or the submarine life of the animals, those who are living, the creatures, those who are living in water, they will also get fish. They will also get not harmed by the fishermen. And in this between, the fishermen, those who are the men, those who are working in salt water, or those who are collecting salt, what they do, they also get time for introspect their activity, and they have the time to look into or to look at their hot hands. That means they will know how they have done difficult tasks, and their hands are becoming hotted, their hands are becoming wounded. Okay, so this is the second stanza where the narrator is telling also how we will become together in the same position, or in the same state of mind, or in the same state of a condition. Furtherly, let's look about the poetic device mentioned in this second stanza. The poet has mentioned here mainly two poetic devices. The first one is alliteration. Alliteration, I have already told you, alliteration means what? Alliteration means when we will found in two consecutive words, the repetition of the consonant sound is called to be alliteration. So here few words are here which have a repetition of a sound. Likewise, here it is mentioned sudden strange. Here the S word is repeating. That is your consonant word. In the second one, his hot hands. Here, H sound is repeating, whereas in the third one, we have two more words, that is we boot. Here, W sound is repeating. These are the examples of alliteration. Further, one more famous or one more common poetic devices here being noticed, that is your repetition. Repetition means what here? Repetition is the repetition of the same word in one stanza. And here we will find out the repetition of without. Here it is mentioned in the second stanza, without rust, without engine. So the word without is repeating, which is called to be a repetition. So thank you for today. The remaining one will continue in our next class. Thank you.